Hi, me again. Right, so hope you've had a cup of tea and processed that last bit. So what we're going to look at now is 3.3, which is to describe the actions to take in response to concerns that a colleague may be failing to comply with safeguarding procedures or abusing or harming children. So the first slide you will see has got a line of perfectly nice looking adults along the bottom. And I imagine that you'll already have guessed that these are people who've all been convicted of abusing children, forming relationships with children. Um, they all look perfectly nice. They all look like somebody you might expect to work in a school, and of course they were. Okay, let's have a look at the next slide. So what do we mean by failing to comply with safeguarding procedures? So we've already talked about the amount of procedures and policies there are in schools. The safeguarding one obviously is massive. It covers a wide range of things to look at, all the sorts of things to do with observing abuse and what to do, and how to manage the information of disclosing and what to do with information relating to the safeguarding team. I'm hoping that you'll have an opportunity to look through some safeguarding policies online and have a look, because when anything happens with safeguarding, you really need to feel confident of what to do as it happens. It's one of those situations, things can unfurl really quickly, and you don't really want to be having to kind of think referring back and flapping about. It's one of those things you really kind of need to know, feet on the ground, what to do, what to go, who to speak to. So it's of all the policies and procedures we look at, this is the one that you really need to have a really, really good look at, because if anything happens, you want to feel confident that you know what you're doing. Okay, so if you think that colleagues are failing to comply, you might see them using their own phone to take pictures of children. Now, if you're ever on a trip or on any kind of activity, there will always be photographs being taken. There'll be a school camera, and then all of those photographs will be downloaded onto the school computer. For things like advertising or for certificates or that kind of stuff, showing what the school does, going to the newsletter, that kind of stuff. Having photographs of children on your own phone is a problem. If you know that any of your colleagues are friending children on social media, again, that is a problem. They are not, when you're working with children, they are never going to be your friends. It is not that relationship. You don't have a social relationship with children, so it's inappropriate, and it opens up all sorts of problem areas. Sharing confidential information about children outside of the setting, either talking to people about children in school, emailing online, anything like that, that is not complying with safeguarding procedures. If a child has told you some information that they've never told anybody else, that is a massive deal, and you need to make sure that you are respecting them by keeping that to yourself and just the people who absolutely need to know. If you see that you have a colleague who's regularly being alone with a particular young person, keep an eye on that. Being overly friendly or attentive to a young person, keep an eye on that. Your gut instincts will kick in. Colleagues who may be harming, abusing or bullying a child. So we're on to the next slide here. So if you see a colleague speaking to or touching a child inappropriately, and I don't necessarily mean in a kind and romantic fashion, but also in a abusive, bullying fashion, again. If you are aware that a child is meeting one of your colleagues outside of a setting, that's an alarm bell. Intimidating or bullying a young person. The picture I've taken there is a PE teacher letting leash on some small boys. I'd like to say it doesn't happen, but it does. Displaying emotional abuse or controlling behaviour. Again, if it doesn't feel right, you can be fairly sure that it's not. So what we're going to do, moving on to the next slide. So any concerns that you have, whether it's around a child or whether it's around a colleague's behaviour with a child, you just need to report it to your designated safeguarding lead straight away. You could end up just having a conversation. It's just you have to say what you've seen, when it, what you've seen, times and names, and for all you know, the DSL could be receiving reports about the same colleague from different people, and the fact that if a few people have got concerns, then you can really start to build a picture. To never sit on these things and wonder and think, oh, I wonder if I should have. You need to just put that information somewhere. What if the information that you have and the concerns that you have are about the DSL or the head teacher? Well, that's awkward. But if that is the case, if you think it's an immediate danger, an immediate problem, you would need to report it to the police. If it's not an immediate danger, but it's bothering you, it's not right, there will be a governor who will have responsibilities for safeguarding. So and most schools on their websites will have details of what governor does what. If not, there will be the chair of the governors will have contact details, and you can speak to them. Or you can speak to the local education authority, or you could even speak to the MASH, the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub. There's various ways. There's various ways of doing it. Okay, next slide is about whistleblowing, and it's just a useful term to be familiar with. So a whistleblower is somebody who reports something that they've seen at work, where something is happening which is a criminal offence, or putting somebody's health and safety in danger, damaging the environment, a miscarriage of justice, a company's breaking the law, or you believe someone is covering up a wrongdoing. So if you had a concern about somebody in your school and you went to see your DSL and nothing was done, and then you went to see somebody else, then technically you'd be a whistleblower. Basically, whistleblowing in some sectors, people are reluctant to do it because it damages the reputation of the setting, or it makes people feel very vulnerable, or they lose their job, all the rest of it. When it comes to children's safety, you always need to know that you have done the right thing. There is nothing worse than having something on the back of your mind. Should you have done it? What's happening now to that child? You need to do it. Okay, so that's a nice little short one. If you have any concerns with any of the assessment work, then obviously send me an email, and I will be YouTubing you soon. Okay, so take care, stay well, bye bye.